There we go. In this video, guys, we're going to be talking about the top 3 rigs you need to know to catch bluegill. They're all really simple and they're not going to take long to tie. And that right there is a nice little bluegill. This one's actually a red ear, but it'll catch those too. Let's move on over to the table and we'll get started. So for all 3 rigs, you're going to start it the same exact way. You want to tie on some kind of bluegill hook. But you may be wondering, what does a bluegill hook actually look like and does it actually matter? And I would say that it does. For bluegill, there's pretty much only 2 kinds of hooks that I'll ever use. The first is a J hook, and it's really simple. It's the shape of a J, just your simple fishing hook. The other kind of hook I'll use is actually a jig head, which is the same exact hook, except this little orange part is actually weighted, so it weighs a little bit, makes it sink faster. And really, when you're picking these out, the main thing you got to think about is size. How big's your hook? It needs to be small enough that it can fit in a fish's mouth. And bluegill don't always have big mouths, so small sizes are actually what you want. If you get a hook that's just a little too big, it can't fit in the bluegill's mouth. But to get started on all 3 of these rigs, I'm just going to be tying on the basic hook. And while I'm tying this, if you don't know how to tie a knot, this right here is the improved clinch knot. It's the knot that I always tie. And if you want to learn more about it, after this video, I have another video of me tying it with some really thick lines so you can really see how it goes. But step 1, just simply tie on one of the little hooks. And what's really cool about it is that this right here is actually our first rig. Well, let's see if we can catch a fish on it. This is what I'd call pretty much just the bare hook rig, or just weightless. For this, I just take my bait, whatever it is, I just literally hook it on. It's so simple. Boom. Whether you're using a piece of bread, a worm, whatever you want, that right there. Here's the pros, guys. And here's the thing. With all these different rigs, you're going to have pros and you're going to have cons. The pros. This is the most natural you can get. There's no bobber, there's no sinker, there's no nothing. And essentially, it's just boom. It's just floating bait, and it slowly sinks, and the bluegill cannot resist it. The cons. It's got one major con, and it's that it doesn't weigh anything, so you can't really cast it that far. But if you know there's fish right off the edge of the dark, you can just drop it down slowly. Boom, they're going to smack it. Or if you can maybe cast just 5 or 10 feet, if the fish are that close, great rig. But now let's switch over to the second rig. Super simple. We're going with the bottom rig, and all it includes is one extra step. For the bottom rig, we're going to look in here. We're going to grab a split shot sinker. Boom. This is the split shot sinker. It's just a little piece of lead, and it's made in a way that I can actually clamp it down on the line. And the ones I have are actually reusable. Now, you're supposed to do this with pliers and just clamp it down with pliers, but, you know, sometimes if you don't have pliers, I do it with my teeth. They say it hurts your teeth, but I don't know. Don't chew on it. Just bite it. Actually, that's bad advice. Probably just do it with pliers. But boom, there's the rig. It is an extremely simple rig. You can put this weight anywhere from like 3 inches above it all the way up to like a foot above it. Honestly, for bluegill, I like 3 inches. I like to keep it simple. I like to keep it right there close together. Now let's go fish it. Now they call this the bottom rig or the split shot rig, and that's because you fish it on the bottom. The pros of this thing, now you have extra weight. So you actually can cast this thing pretty far. Like boom, I launched that thing probably 15 yards right there, or 45 feet, I think. Another pro is that if your fish are deep, since this thing has extra weight on it, it's gonna sink a lot faster. So I can actually throw it out, let it sink all the way to the bottom, and boom, you're gonna be fishing on the bottom. And it's gonna be in deeper water. That's the pros. The cons, you've kind of gotta watch your line or feel your line, so it's not as visual. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Another con, it's not actually a con. Hold on a second, I caught something bigger than a bluegill. That's another pro, guys. A lot of times whenever you're fishing on bottom, there's a pretty good chance you can hook onto other creatures because things like catfish also live down there deep at the bottom. And this is actually gonna be a real fight right here. Hang on. I'm trying to make a bluegill video and end up catching a catfish. Okay, that's fine, I guess. But that is one of the pros of the bottom rig. How am I gonna get this guy up here? I caught him on an ultralight. All right, got the catfish off. All is good. All in fine dandy. Anyways, you get the idea. The bottom rig works the exact same way for bluegill. You throw it down there. You do got to feel your line a little bit. And whenever it boop, 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 and you can feel pulling, go ahead and row back, set that hook into the fish, and go ahead and start reeling. You're not going to be able to see very much unless you're watching your line. But if you do want to have a bluegill rig where it's very visual, maybe you're taking a younger kid or something, let me show you the last rig. It's the bobber rig, and it probably catches more bluegill than anything. And then after that, I'm gonna give you guys an honorable mention that I didn't put on the list, but honestly, I use it almost more than anything. All right, let's come back over to the table and my little fishing kit. Let's pull it out. This last rig is called the bobber rig. And it is so simple. Once again, you're gonna start off with your hook. The same thing we've had for both rigs. Then we're moving up, you're gonna leave that sinker on. I like to have it about 2 or 3 inches up. And then you're gonna go anywhere from 18 inches on up to ever how deep you think they are. I average about 2 feet. This is when we're coming in with a bobber. Also called a cork, because they used to be made out of cork. This one's just plastic. Or a bobber, a float, anything like that. This particular one's super easy to simple. I don't know what I just said. What I meant to say is that it's easy to use. Anyways, well, let me show you how it works. It is really simple. You push on this bottom, and it's got a little spring in it, and that pushes that hook up. So what I do is I come in here. You just simply hook that on your line. Boom. So now that's kind of grabbed on your line. Then you're going to put your finger up there and just push the outside of this green, and that pushes another one right there. With that, you're gonna bring the bottom of your line and you're just going to wrap it around that to where it's hooked up here and it's hooked right there. That way it ain't gonna slide up and down. Or I guess it can. And if it does, like it actually is right here, just go ahead and wrap it around once or wrap it around twice. And then it will not go up and down, and it will stay. Hot debate out there. Is this the top, or is that the top? I don't think it matters. It does the same thing. I've always rigged it like that, but comment below what you do. But anyways, boom, there's the bobber rig. We got a bobber, 18 inches. We got a bobber, 16 inches down, have one of the split shot sinkers. 2 inches down from that, we've got a hook. Let's go fish this thing and let's catch one. This one's super good because it's visual. And you do actually gain casting distance since now you're casting the weight of the bobber too. So if the fish are shallow or you want something visual, this is the time to use it. I'm gonna show you why people like it. And I'm gonna try my best to leave it in the screen, but I'm gonna put my bobber right here. Now I can sling this thing real far, but right there, boom, I'm just gonna drop it in. Watch your bobber. It's gonna bounce, it's gonna bounce. If it's bouncing, fish are looking at it, fish are thinking about it. You wanna keep your slack up. When that bobber goes under, you pull that thing up. Right there, boom, I had one. But he didn't really take it under. A bigger fish will take it under. Let's throw it right over here. Hope y'all can see this pretty good. Let's throw it right over here. Right there, that's a good spot right there. And then I'm watching that bobber, watch that bobber. If that bobber goes underwater, that means something's pulling it down. And that's when a fish has got it in its mouth. Right there, right there, right there. Oh, did you see it? I wasn't looking. That's another thing. It's a visual lure right there. So you gotta be watching it. If you're not watching, you ain't gonna do nothing, okay? Hold on, let me get more bait. I wasn't watching, dude. He took my bait right out from under me. Hey, they'll do that on them big jobs. All right, let's redo this. I'm gonna cast it in the same spot, and that's how you do it too. The pros and cons. Sometimes super spooky fish. Sometimes it's not gonna catch them as good because sometimes the fish get smart. The pros, bluegill ain't that smart to begin with, so you probably ain't gonna have a problem with it. It's fun, it's visual. You can see it, there it goes, there it goes. Boom, got him, son. And there you stinking go, baby. There we stinking go. You just watch that bobber, and if it goes under, you got him. Bring him in the boat. Bring him in. And that actually seems to be a red ear, which isn't a bluegill, but it's pretty much the same thing. Nice. There we go. And I'm about to show you my honorable mention, son. Boom. Nice little fish. Do a flip. He's fine. Don't worry about it. And I'm going to do this honorable mention super quick. Here's what I do. Boom. We talked about it a minute ago. It's actually just a jig head. This one's 1/32 ounce. This one's the secret though. 1/64 ounce. The weight is so small they don't hardly notice it, but it still gets you a little bit more casting distance and it sinks it down quicker. I like it. If you're looking for a bluegill fishing kit that's got everything you need, nothing you don't, I actually put this one together and sell it on my website. It's got bobbers, the split shots we were using, 2 size hooks, the jig head, and it's even got some artificial lures, like these little marabou jigs, 4 different colors, soft plastic tubes, which can be rigged up on the jig heads as well, little curly tail grubs, 2 inline spinners, and it comes with a little Jesus because he's always with you. And right there on the front, it has a QR code showing you how to use everything in the kit. If you're interested in the fishing kit, click the first link in the description. If you want to know my top 5 bluegill baits, click right over here. Or some other bluegill fishing videos, click right over here.